We are looking at Chris Dickey's Portrait on Location. These have a very street photography feel, and that's one of the genres of photography that I just love. Everything in these is kind of crooked, yet they still feel right. Sometimes when you have crooked, things are just chaotic, but here things seem to have a good feel. You can feel the action, you can feel the movement, you can see these locations. They're interesting to look at, the people in these locations. So the people are working. I was liking this one. The Japanese mob is known as Yakuza. These two look as though they stepped out of central casting of a movie about the group. The older gentleman walked with ease, surrounded by several younger men who appeared to be bodyguards. They were one of the few groups of Japanese people who looked me in the eyes. So that's all good information, good captioning. So remember, you guys, I want you to be working on your captioning. So Chris did a great job with these. They've got a good feel, they've got good energy, they have good movement, they're descriptive, his captions are descriptive. Way to go. We are looking at John Woodbury's Blue Hour, Golden Hour photographs. So I think he did a great job with these. The light is dramatic, the images just suck you in. I am most drawn to this middle one. And here we are. So on this, what I would do to make it a little bit more impactful is I would think about the cropping of this post right here. Either have it in the image or have it out of the image. I would like to see maybe a little bit of detail popping up over here in this bush. So that's a little shadow slider in Adobe Camera Raw or Lightroom to pop that out. And that would probably give you a little bit more detail through here. I think it's interesting, the lighting that's happening, that's popping through here. Let's look up here. Okay, we've got the RGB of 255. Remember, I always tell you guys that you want to take that RGB down to 250. For printing, we want to lay a little bit of ink down on the paper. It's not going to look any different, it's just going to look better. So those two quick little things. This little guy here, open this up, and I think that we're looking good with that. Commando to open from the bridge. I like the blue cast that we've got in here. It's going with our Blue Hour. John says he goes here to contemplate and think about life. I'm drawn to this image. It's very today, unfortunately, with the garbage and stuff in here. I say leave that. Remember, sometimes I've been telling you to clean stuff like that up, but I think here we see that there's this road here, and you just know that this is left behind. It depends on what my goal is, though, as to whether or not I would leave that. If I'm documenting the place as a place, I would leave it. If I was going for a beauty shot, I would take it out. And then I'd take out some of these little dots down in here. Go back over here to John. He wrote, beauty can be found anywhere. At the end of Durango, there is nothing but a mountain range, dirt, and desert vegetation. It is so quiet. I love to come here and think and contemplate my life and yearning to move away from the desert. So that's a story for the whole group. I would like to see some individual captioning for each image. Okay, so each image should have its own caption, and that can just be, date and location, time of day kind of stuff, and then have that little story attached as well. So not everyone who does not live in Vegas would know that this was Vegas, so I would include Las Vegas in there, Las Vegas, Nevada, so people viewing this would know the location more specifically. You don't have to pinpoint it so people can find it because it's your quiet place, but let them know the state and city. So I think that you caught a nice look with these. You've got a nice pano going here. You guys, we haven't seen a lot of panos, haven't seen a lot of playing with that sort of altering of your frame. So give it a try if it is appropriate for your image. Definitely appropriate for this image. And it's got a good feel once again. One of the things I would do is I just might give it a little bit of a darkening, a little vignette down here. Be careful though not to vignette the sky. And I'm guessing that is probably an RGB of 255 also up there. Yeah, so remember, it's an easy pull down. Just come over here to adjustments, grab the curve tool and pull down the top white to output of 250 and you're good to make a print. Okay, so a little vignetting through here. And I like to use a dodge and burn layer to vignette. So I have that set up as an action, and I'm just going to run it. And if you'd like to know how to do that, I can send you the ABCs of it. So now that I have this dodge and burn layer, I can grab my paintbrush and paint with black. It's my foreground color. I'm going to take my opacity down to about 20% and just a mild darkening. So earlier when I did Nancy's, we used what did we use? We used just black paint in a blend mode. So this is a dodge and burn layer, and we can actually come in here and dodge as well as burn, so I can pull some of the detail out there. You have to be careful not to go too far. I may have, so I'll just hit X again, kind of go back. That would be best. That kind of detail is best brought out in ACR. But just a little bit of burning at the base here, and it forces our eye up into the sky. And heck, let's see what happens if I just kind of come over here to the targeted adjustment tool. I can make that a little more dramatic, because we like drama. Now, when I did that, we lost a lot of the information through here. So we just, once again, we grab our tool, our brush tool. We're going to paint with black because the layer mask is white. And we're just going to take it right off of here. Let's see what that looks like. Oh, a little more drama in there. Never hurts. Okay, so there's a quick few little things you can do to pop this photograph even further. We are looking at John Z's work, right behind John W. Okay, so I'm amusing myself. But anyways, John is also doing the blue hour, golden hour. So he starts off from up on a hill in Henderson. You can see all the way down to the strip, and when it's lit up, it looks pretty awesome. So he's correct, it does look pretty awesome. I would like to have a little bit more information, state, time, that kind of stuff in here to go with the captioning. And each image should have that. So number 3, with a filter from the Mac Photos software. So good, he's playing with his Mac Photos, so that's all good. Full moon over the restaurant, which was a pretty great restaurant. Okay, so it's looking pretty good. I might do two exposures, one for the foreground and one for the background, and then you can kind of blend them together using a mask. So if you're using a tripod, you expose for the foreground and then you expose for the sky, and that will take care of some of this banding that we're seeing here because you're pushing the file a little far. And that you'll learn in some of our landscape classes or in our Photoshop classes as well. So hope to see you in one of those. But overall, it has a really good impact. It has a good feel. The color's really inviting. This one, I feel like it has an awkward crop at the bottom there. You guys know that I like to talk about awkward crops. That's definitely, you caught the light, but the photograph itself isn't quite the last one. So this one, you're trying to bring up some more of that detail, and it's looking a little bit grayer, not quite as rich as in that first one that we looked at. And that's also partly the time of day as that light is shifting. So we can push that a little further even with our editing skills. And here, this one I think is it. I love that you've got some detail in the foreground, and that's not always necessary. Sometimes black is perfectly perfect. Perfectly perfect. Woohoo. You got nice color here leading us in. That was that very first shot where you're talking about seeing the city in the background, and you did it here. So I think this one and this one, these are the two keepers out of this group that really are the strong images. So just for fun, because you know how I like to do just for fun, if I just pull that up a little bit, just by pulling this down, I'm creating even more drama. So I've created an S-curve, and an S-curve adds contrast. So even in Mac Photos, you could attempt to create a little bit more drama with an S-curve. And then one of the things that happened when we did that was we lost that detail that I was liking down on the bottom. So let's just grab our brush tool, and we're going to make it a little smaller. We're going to take it to 50%, and we're going to change it over to black, make it a little bit bigger, And we can bring that detail back down here and still keep even a little bit more of that drama up in the sky. Okay. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's looking good. Because John is using Photos in Mac, I thought I would play with this a little bit there as well. So we're in the Mac, and I just opened this up into the Edit section. So there are all of these controls in here, and I can just start by moving the light control, and then you can go in and adjust these all individually. So I'm going to see what we can do here. A little bit of contrast going, and we can pull that black point over a little bit. Now for the color. So we can emphasize more of that color saturation. We don't want to push it so far where we're getting artifacting in the image. Okay, so that's too far, so we're going to pull it back. And there's a black and white option in here. There's some retouching options, some red eye, white balance if you needed to go into a white balance. That's here as well. And then down here we do have a curve. So just like in Photoshop, I can create a little S-curve to give us some drama. Let's see. And I can go in and individually affect the channels as well. So you have a composite RGB channel, the red, the green, and the blue channel. And by pulling down, it pulls out the red. By pushing up, it gives you more red. So I'm just trying to find that balance without going too far. Okay, so let's go back up here to the shadows and see what happens. So when I pull the shadows back to get it on the lower part, opening up, I am losing some of that drama that we're creating down here with our curves. But let's just see here. So before, after, before, after. So this one feels a little muddier. This one seems a little poppier. Maybe I pushed the red too far. But there's still some time to play. So let's see. Oh, I got selective color down here as well. So I can... Oh, I like this. This is just like in ACR. You can change the hue a little bit. Ooh, maybe I'm liking that even better. From this to this. Oh! Okay, I'm calling it done. There it is. Okay, so we've got two really different photographs now. One's not right and one's not wrong. They're just different. Okay? So you have editing options. We are looking at Sierra's work, her portrait on location. So when I first looked at these, I was thinking that they were probably friends of hers, but through her captioning, I learned that they weren't. They were people that she met along the way. So she was liking this background and found this guy and had him stand in front of it because she liked how the shirt worked with what was going on in the background. And I thought that was really a great thing to be looking at. So she planned out this photograph. The photo was taken on July 8th, 2018 at Miracle Mile Shops in Las Vegas, which is located in Planet Hollywood. Very descriptive. Great start. We have a wall that translates welcome in a bunch of different languages. I thought this wall would be perfect for the travel theme. Therefore, I wanted to get really artistic with this photo. And I found Riley to be my portrait. He was very kind to have let me take his photos because of his shirt. I love that he is wearing a striped shirt, which gives the photo more of a creative look in my opinion. I took this phone with my iPhone 8. So I took this photo with my iPhone 8, it should read. But anyways, I think that's a great description, and it helps tie things in. Now, I was wondering if it could be a little tighter in the framing. So I went into Photoshop, and I have Sierra's over on the left-hand side, And I just cropped it square. And I think the square crop is a little tighter. I like the idea, though, that you've got all of those names and stuff. So I might step back a step if I wanted to go with the 2:3 proportion and include his feet and the whole wall behind him. Or I'd get in a little closer. So this was the crop that I did, and I think it's working a little bit in a little bit stronger way. And then I think you vignetted the edges on yours, so I wanted to mimic what you had done. So this is what it looked like after I cropped it. So I added some vignetting, and I think that's looking pretty good. So I would think about cropping this one square. She was liking the portrait in the background, found this gal, and took a photo of her. She said she loved her style. So, you know, why are you taking these pictures? She's telling us why. She did a great job with her posing and reminds her of the woman in the painting. So very nicely done here. And then another nice shot. The one thing I would look at here is the hand right here. So this hand I would want to see. I want to see the fingers. So that's just an awkward crop. So step back a step. I don't think you want to necessarily point the camera down because we don't want to lose the top of this welcome sign, but we do want to see the fingers. And then in your captioning you talked about liking the makeup and you know, that he cooperated, and this is right across the street from where you live, so you gave a little bit of a narrative, a personal narrative with it, and I think that's right on. That's what you want to be doing. So you're doing a great job with your captioning. Little thing, fingers. This one's looking good. You got everyone in here, everyone being feet, hands, all that. And this guy. So anyways, good job with these. Take note of those couple little details. So we're revisiting Angie's work. She revisited them after the last review and wanted to try my suggestions. So what do you guys think? We've got, this was the original with the partial color, and then this is the redo. I think I am leaning more towards the full color image here. Looks like this one you cropped. You didn't go back in and crop this one. You're just kind of sending me the original. So I would go back and work that crop. And same with this one. I'd do that same crop that you've got going on here because you don't need this extra stuff. But I do think that the color looks good. However, when we're down here, you've got this partial color going here. I think you could do more partial color with her and just bring her skin back through. So that's something to think about. But I think I'm liking the color ones better on those. And same with this one. This one could just use a little bit more tweak as a whole. Because the skin, the whole image feels a little dark. So I would probably just brighten it up a little bit. Something more along that sort of look. So from this to this, it's just popping it out. And then you could even go in and open up the eyes a little bit more. This is where you started. This is what you submitted, resubmitted. But this is more along the lines of what I was mentioning in the last video. So bringing the skin tone back through. So, and I didn't do a very good job here. But bring the skin, a little bit of the hands, a little bit of this. One of the things I really liked was the color that you have going on through here in the background. This is really beautiful, but it's just fighting with her. So I just kind of, you know, it didn't line up because things were resized and all. But I could throw that color in as well. So you obviously could do a much better job than I just did, just kind of winging it. But I think she's looking a little more natural. Okay, so I hope that helps what I was kind of thinking when I was describing it. So let me know what you think. So I went back and played with this one more time. And this time I just grabbed a curve, grabbed my targeted adjustment tool, came over here and clicked on her skin and lightened the whole thing up. Just by doing that, the whole image changes. Things feel more natural. It feels more of a blend. So I think that looks better than this looked. And it might be more along the lines of what you were thinking. So it's that dance back and forth. Give it a try.